Okay, Brent. Brent.
All right.
Go ahead and just
You want to
say your name to the...
yeah, say your name for us and your location?
I'm Brent Nelson. I work at Sartori Emergency Department.
Okay. All right. And what is your role there, Brent?
I'm a registered nurse, staff nurse.
Okay.
Been here for 25 years.
25 years. Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, as I explained, kind of what we are doing is just asking some general questions, having conversation about what makes Wheaton great.
Sure.
And so maybe one of the first questions I'll ask you is, what would a really good day at work be?
What would a really good day at work be?
Yeah.
Nothing bad happens to anybody.
There you go. There you go.
That'd be the best day.
Yeah. Yeah. In 25 years, there have been a lot of changes in healthcare, technologically speaking, and so on.
Yeah.
How have you seen Wheaton as an organization respond to those changes over the year?
It's been great. We've changed our policies towards how we look at people, how we look as a group, how we change with medicine. We do a good job of continually updating our data so we can change with how things are supposed to change. You know, to give best patient care.
Wonderful.
Equipment-wise, we change constantly. We're always upgrading our equipment, which before we were part of Covenant or Wheaton, we couldn't afford to do, and we get to do that a very positive way with Covenant or with Wheaton.
Wonderful. Wonderful. There, I'm sure, have been a lot of instances over the years, and I realize that you're in an area where you're not necessarily having the opportunity to develop patient relationships. Have you always been in ER?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mostly.
Okay.
Out of 27 years, 25 have been there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just was curious if there's any instance that comes to mind that just really left a mark on you, was remarkable in terms of a patient experience, and maybe it was just it just seemed like an insurmountable hurdle in regards to patient care. And
we don't usually develop patient relationships, although we do see a lot of the same patients frequently, because they all have chronic illness, so they'll come back in throughout their time. And I don't know, it's really hard to say if we ever get, because we're here for 12 hours at a time and we don't get to re-see them a lot of times, where the family come in all the time.
Right.
I don't know if I have any real insurmountable instances at all. No.
Okay. All right.
I've had some chronic illnesses where we've instructed them on what the best patient care should be for their spouse, to get them up, keep them walking, keep them moving and stuff. And then I did have an instance where they had Parkinson's, and throughout the dying process he finally succumbed to his illness, and his wife was having a hard time, and we had a long conversation about what his body was doing and how it was playing out, and that it really wasn't a decision, that it was his decision, not hers, and he was making it for her. And so we talked for 10 minutes, and she realized it was time for her to go, and then she did contact me later and say, you know, thank you for helping me see that. And so I suppose that would be.
Sure, sure. That's wonderful. And that is something that we have heard throughout the day today on just different stories about that, on how there have been staff such as you, and the example you just gave, that take a step away from the everyday go, 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 to really just sit down and have that conversation with a patient. And maybe
we try to do that more and more. We're better at that than we used to be years ago. Everybody is.
Sure.
Is taking time and listening, because the family is becoming a more important part of the whole picture. We incorporate the family and everybody in that patient care. So I think that's a positive thing for medicine. I believe in that strongly. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What made you decide to go into healthcare?
Oh, when I was 18, I had Guillain-Barré syndrome, where I was paralyzed on the bed for about 5 weeks in the intensive care unit, and I had a lot of Army nurses taking care of me, males, and that kind of piqued my interest. And I've always been interested in science anyway, so that's
Interesting.
what started it. And it was a cool choice. I was a pig farmer before that,
Really?
so quite the difference in that. You'd be surprised how much alike they are.
Well, I have heard that. I have heard that.
So yeah, it's a fun transition.
That's interesting.
So.
Interesting. If your path were to cross with a young person who's thinking about going into healthcare in general, and maybe, what advice would you have for them in general, and then maybe specifically to Wheaton if they were looking for a place to call home for their career?
Well, Wheaton's a good organization to go to. In fact, I talk to people a lot about when they get frustrated and whether they want to go somewhere else, to look at the whole picture very carefully, because we have good benefits, we have a good organization, we're a strong organization, and they actually seem to listen to us. And they need to make sure it's not just it looks greener on the other side of the fence. Every place has their problems. You're gonna make sure you're really not happy before you leave. As far as going into my field, I do want to retire someday. So yes, I want to encourage everybody I can get to come into the field. It's a great field. Medicine in general is always moving and always evolving, so it's a fun place to work. So, does that answer your question?
It does. It does. You're doing a fantastic job with that. Of the individuals that you have worked with at Wheaton, is there one in particular that really served as a true inspiration to you?
We had a supervisor, Kathy Russler, was a great person. She was a very caring individual. She had a vast amount of knowledge that everybody needed to draw from. Unfortunately, she got older and couldn't stick around any longer, but she was a good mentor, and she had knowledge, and she portrayed the knowledge in a very calm, confident way. And I learned a lot from her when I was young.
Sure. That's fantastic. If you were to end this conversation with one thing that just really stands out as making Wheaton great, what might that be?
I think as an organization, we give exceptional patient care and caring. I think it's a great, great thing to work for.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. Dave, can you think of anything else?
Those are great answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Brent. We appreciate it.